On a Tuesday, specifically March 19, 2024, Carly, a 14-year-old girl, texted her friends after school, "Come over to my house. I need your help." It wasn't just one or two people, quite a few friends received that message. Naturally, everyone was curious about what was going on. One friend even asked, "Why so urgent? Do we need to call 911?" Carly immediately replied, "No, you can't." Then, two of her friends hurried over to Carly's house. When they arrived, they saw Carly sitting calmly in front of the gate, her face showing no signs of urgency or panic at all. Carly asked, "Have you ever seen a dead body?" As soon as she finished speaking, she stood up and led her two friends into the house. Inside, on the floor, lay a lifeless body, shut and motionless. Both friends screamed in terror. But Carly, unfazed, coldly said, "Next is my stepdad." Now, let's talk a bit more about Carly. She was born in 2009, the only daughter of Ashley Smiley and Kevin. Before Carly was born, the couple had lost a newborn due to health complications. Because of that, Ashley doted on Carly, treating her like a little princess. But Carly's family life was far from peaceful. Her father, Kevin, suffered from bipolar disorder, was addicted to drugs, and had a violent nature. Because of that, life for Ashley and her daughter felt like living in hell. Kevin would frequently abuse Ashley, and at times he didn't even spare Carly, his only child. In the end, unable to endure it any longer, Ashley decided to file for divorce. But she was still afraid that Kevin might try to harass or harm her and Carly. So she bought a gun for protection. That detail would later become a crucial part of today's case. After ending her painful marriage with Kevin in 2019, Ashley met a kind-hearted man named Heath Smiley, who worked as a physical therapist. They dated for about a year before deciding to get married. By 2024, the family of three, Ashley 40, Heath 39, and Carly 14, had been living together for nearly 3.5 years. Even though family life had become relatively peaceful and there was now a man in the house, Ashley still kept a gun right beside her bed, just in case something ever went wrong at school. Carly wasn't just well-liked and surrounded by friends, she was also an excellent student. In October 2023, she was even named Student of the Year, which earned her a spot in an advanced class ahead of her peers. But starting in March 2024, everything began to change. Carly was caught trying to take a photo of an exam paper from a teacher's desk drawer. Her behavior took a strange turn too. She started doing reckless things, like punching a teacher in the back of the head and running off, jumping from the second floor of the school, or even casually drinking from a bottle of hand sanitizer right in front of everyone. Because of these unusual behaviors, even Carly's close friends, including the two who had been to her house and seen the body, started to think she was acting strange. On top of that, they had recently discovered she'd started vaping and was even using illegal substances. Given the situation, Carly's friends decided to tell her mother what was going on. Ashley Smiley, in fact, was a math teacher at the very school Carly attended. She was well liked by her students for being a dedicated and kind-hearted educator. So, when Ashley heard these troubling things about her daughter from Carly's friends, she was genuinely shocked. She had already endured so much hardship because of her ex-husband, an addict, violent and abusive, the very reason she ended that marriage. And now, the daughter she had raised with so much hope, a bright student and the center of her world, was suddenly doing reckless things and getting involved with drugs. Not long after that, Carly's friends received another urgent message from her, telling them to come over immediately. As soon as they saw the message, two of them rushed to her house, only to discover that Ashley, Carly's mother, had been shot dead in Carly's bedroom. By then, it was already past 4:30 in the afternoon. Carly sat there, expressionless, and said coldly, "I shot her 3 times, and my stepdad's coming home soon. He's next." She was still holding the gun in her hand. The two friends were terrified, frozen in fear, and unable to do anything. They were shaken, wondering if Carly had shot her mother just because they had told on her about the drug use. Or worse, if she might hurt them next. They were so scared they couldn't even scream or run. But to their surprise, Carly remained completely calm and said, "Now you two go sit out in the yard and wait. When my stepdad gets home, I'll kill him, then I'll leave soon after." Carly's two closest friends had no choice. They ran outside, sat in the yard, and waited crying the whole time. Meanwhile, Carly's stepdad, Heath, was still at the hospital doing physical therapy sessions with his patients, completely unaware of the horrifying events unfolding at his home. At the end of his workday, Heath received a message, "Honey, when are you coming home?" But in reality, it was Carly using her dead mother's phone to try and find out what time he'd be back. Heath didn't respond. Something about the message felt off. It didn't sound like Ashley at all. She usually called him directly, not sending oddly worded texts like that. Feeling uneasy, Heath drove his pickup truck home faster than usual. Around 5 p.m., he pulled up in front of the garage. As he cracked the door open, just 3 or 4 inches, a black gun barrel suddenly pointed through the gap, making him jump in shock. Luckily, the bullet only grazed his shoulder. Though bleeding and in pain, he managed to stay calm. He pushed the door fully open and saw Carly standing there, gun aimed directly at him, her face cold and unmoving. Without hesitation, Heath lunged forward, grabbing the gun and trying to twist it out of her hands. During the struggle, 2 more shots were fired, but thankfully, no one was hit. Carly immediately broke free and ran outside. At that moment, one of the friends hiding in the yard took off after her. The entire scene, gunshots, screams, and all was captured by the home's security cameras. Within just 1 hour, everything had unfolded. Carly had killed her mother, attacked her stepfather, and fled the scene. Heath rushed into the bedroom to look for Ashley but found no one. He paused for a moment, sensing something was wrong, then hurried to Carly's room. There, he froze in shock. His wife was already dead. Fighting back his emotions, he called 911, his voice trembling so much that the dispatcher initially thought the caller was a woman. Not long after, multiple police cars arrived at the scene. They secured the area and began collecting evidence. Just an hour later, Carly appeared covered in dirt as she crawled out of a storm drain. It turned out she had been hiding there, trying to see if the police were still around. But she was quickly spotted and arrested, since she had fired a weapon. The police conducted a gunshot residue test on the spot. Carly seemed oddly curious throughout the process and even asked how her stepdad was doing. As for Heath, he clearly remembered the attack on him, and through his testimony, the police were able to piece together part of what had happened. But how exactly Carly had killed her mother, Heath didn't know. At the time, he had still been at work. The police didn't have to search for long. After reviewing the home's security cameras, they uncovered a crucial piece of evidence. Carly's every move was caught on the home's CCTV footage. At exactly 5:55 p.m., she and her mother returned home together as Ashley pulled into the garage. It appeared the two got into a heated argument. Ashley had recently found out about Carly's involvement with drugs and scolded her harshly. After that, Ashley went into Carly's room to search for any drugs earlier. The family's dogs had been playing in the front yard, but once they got home, Carly brought them inside. Carly's bedroom was on the right side of the house, and that's where Ashley was searching through her daughter's belongings. Carly hid the gun behind her back to avoid being seen on camera. This was also the moment she used her mother's phone to send the fake message to Heath. Meanwhile, she calmly petted the dogs, acting as if nothing at all was happening. After reviewing the full surveillance footage, police immediately charged Carly. Everything was crystal clear while searching the scene. They also discovered Carly's journal. In it, she had written about a different voice inside her head, with entries like, "I'm about to lose it, please help me." But what stood out most was that the handwriting was completely different from Carly's usual style, almost as if it had been written by another person living inside the same body. When police asked Carly about the journal, she claimed she didn't remember writing any of it. In reality, Carly had a history of schizophrenia combined with bipolar disorder. Her mother, Ashley, was fully aware of her condition and had regularly taken her to see doctors and receive professional counseling. Prosecutors charged Carly with 3 crimes. First, first-degree murder for the killing of her biological mother, Ashley. Second, attempted first-degree murder for the attack on her stepfather, Heath. And third, tampering with evidence because Carly had initially tried to hide the home's security cameras, even though police eventually recovered the footage. Carly pleaded not guilty, claiming she couldn't remember anything and emphasizing her history of mental illness. Prosecutors offered a deal. If she admitted to shooting her mother 3 times and attempting to kill her stepfather, her sentence would be reduced to 40 years in prison. That meant Carly could be released around the age of 54, a relatively light sentence by U.S. standards for a murder case. But Carly refused to take the plea deal. It's possible she believed that, given her history of mental illness, the side effects of her medication, and the fact that she was still a minor, the court might hand down a lighter sentence than the 40 years being offered. The trial took place in September 2024. Carly appeared in court with a rather unusual demeanor. She smiled slightly, chatted casually with her lawyer, remained calm and indifferent, occasionally smirked, and at times even buried her face in her hands and cried. It's understandable why Carly had refused the 40-year plea deal. After all, in the U.S., there have been cases where defendants were found not guilty by reason of insanity. But unfortunately for her, that kind of luck didn't come. The jury concluded that Carly knew exactly what she was doing, that she could clearly distinguish right from wrong, and that she was not insane when she killed her mother. The verdict was announced on September 20th, 2024. For killing her mother and attempting to murder her stepfather, Carly was sentenced to 2 life sentences. Looking at Carly's face as the sentence was read, it was clear that the 14-year-old hadn't expected such a harsh outcome in that moment. It seemed she finally realized the gravity of her mistake. Refusing the 40-year deal had backfired, and now she was facing the devastating reality of life behind bars. Even though the case had gone to trial and Carly received a sentence many deemed appropriate, it still sparked widespread controversy on social media. Specifically, during the court hearings, Carly's stepfather Heath appeared as a witness, and his behavior toward Carly raised a lot of eyebrows. Many people began questioning his actions and intentions. At first, police suspected that Heath might have been an accomplice in Ashley's murder. The reason? They couldn't locate the memory card from the home's surveillance camera because Carly had hidden it. Strangely, after being treated and returning home, Heath found the missing card inside the refrigerator, but instead of immediately handing it over to police, he transferred the footage to his personal computer, which caused the original data on the card to be erased. Later, Heath went to the police and showed them the footage from his computer. When asked why the original video on the memory card had been erased, he stayed silent, then promptly hired a lawyer. What drew the most attention and sparked the biggest debate was Heath's strange demeanor. When the prosecutor asked, "Who shot you?" Heath pointed at Carly and gave a mysterious smile. Carly smiled back. The two of them looked at each other and laughed, and that wasn't all. Heath even made a gesture that seemed to say, "I love you" to Carly. This, despite the fact that Carly had killed his wife and nearly killed him with a bullet through the door. Just 6 months after the tragedy, his affectionate behavior toward the person who tore his life apart left many deeply suspicious. On the witness stand, Mr. Heath even said that Carly was a perfect child, smart, sweet, well-liked, and very popular. He believed her mental illness stemmed from a childhood marked by abuse from her biological father, comparing it to being beaten like a punching bag. According to him, with proper treatment, she could recover. He saw the whole incident as nothing more than a reckless mistake of youth. Another detail that raised further suspicion was the gun Carly used. It was registered under Mr. Heath's name. Some argued that it was normal since he and Ashley were married, so the gun could have been in the house legally. But even so, These strange details left many on social media questioning the true nature of the relationship between Heath and Carly. So in the end, what is really going on between Carly and Mr. Heath? Could it be that the reason he defended her so fiercely in court was to send a message, "Dad will always be here to protect you"? Or maybe he was afraid that if he didn't stand by her, Carly might change her mind and reveal something he desperately wanted to keep hidden. Anyway, all of this is just speculation. There's no concrete evidence to prove it. In fact, Heath was also injured in the incident and is considered a victim. The police aren't fools. They even listed him as a suspect from the very beginning. This shows they conducted a thorough and impartial investigation, but in the end, no charges were filed against him. Amid the ongoing controversies, there's also a sizable group of people who believe that Heath truly saw Carly as his own daughter. Because of that, they think he wanted to forgive her and give a 14-year-old child a chance to rebuild her life. However, Heath's forgiveness seems a bit unusual when you look at his expressions and actions. Even many psychologists find it difficult to fully explain. The controversy continues, and months after the incident, Heath still visits Carly regularly in prison, so much so that he has used up all his allowed visitation days. Today's video ends here. Thank you all for watching until the very end. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.